Good morning, students. We finished yesterday the syllabus for geography. As we are aware, I shall be giving you the questions shortly. But today we get into history because history usually takes most of our time. And let us get on with this chapter, the Age of Industrialization. And it is on page number 103. Okay. Now, students, the point is we have studied and we've seen whether in geography or in even in political science for that matter, that society evolves, our aspirations change, our needs change, and definitely the needs just do not change in terms of technology. That yesterday probably we were happy sending messages through pigeons, now we need smartphones, or for that matter, we were perfectly satisfied with the bullock carts, and now we need supersonic air travel. So it's not just about that, but it is also, you know, all that kind of achievement. There is a great amount of homework that is involved. Whether you talk about or any of that technological accomplishment that I just mentioned, it doesn't happen without enormous amount of homework, with great pioneers who have given their life and blood and sweat to achieve and to bring those great inventions to you. So this is what we would be looking at in this chapter. And of course the journey as well, that you are in now students class 10, you understand that man started as hunter and gatherer. We were just satisfied with uh, three meals a day, and that would be the biggest achievement, that yes, we did not go to sleep hungry, right? That was the earlier situation when man started his journey. By medieval times we were advancing, and today we are, it is even difficult to believe that even 30 years ago people lived the way they did. So you can imagine how people must have lived 33,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago. So now coming to this chapter, the age of industrialization. uh, Okay, look at this image carefully. In March, two steps. Now, in 1900, a popular music publisher, E.T. Paul, produced a music book that had a picture of the cover page announcing the dawn of the century. As you can see from the illustration, at the center of the picture is a goddess-like figure, the angel of progress, bearing the flag of new century. She is gently perched on a wheel with wings, symbolizing time. Her flight has taken her into the future. Floating about behind her are the signs of progress: railway, cameras, machine, printing press, and factory. So essentially, if you look at the image, definitely it is essentially what is dawn, students. First, if you look at this image, then you also need to understand what is dawn. Dawn is essentially a new sunrise. It's a new sunrise. So this is what it is trying to tell you, that a new sunrise, a new sunrise, a new sun has emerged. A new day has started, whereby the day which was all about agriculture and just three meals a day, that has been left behind, and we are entering a new day, a new era, whereby these machines would be important, and these would be the machines that would define human civilization. So that's what essentially this image is all about. The glorification of machines and technology is even more marked in a picture which appeared in the pages of a trade magazine over 100 years ago. uh, Now, students, before we just get into this image, that is two magicians here, we look at Orient. Remember this, you would come across this word Orient quite often. The countries to the east of the Mediterranean, usually referred to as Asia. The terms arising out of a Western viewpoint that sees this region as a pre-modern, traditional, and mysterious. So Orient is about, the countries of essentially Asia, and because we've had the oldest of the civilization, right from Sumerian, Mesopotamian civilization to Chinese and Indian for that matter, and even in Southeast Asia. So this place, this geography, this carries a great amount of mystery because of its age, because it's been around much more than Western world as a civilization, that is, was at any point in time. And that is known as Orient. And then what would be the Western civilization known as, students? The old Western civilization would be known as uh, Occident. Okay, we call ourselves Orient here. If we, then they would be not known as a Western, they would be known as Occidents. Okay, so because Western, the moment you say, it gives an impression of a very modern society. Okay, but Occident definitely talks about a society that existed at some point in time in past. Okay, now coming to the image that they are talking about here, the image of one at the bottom is the modern machine, modern mechanic who, with his modern tools, weaves a new magic, builds bridges, ships, towers, and high-rise buildings. Aladdin is shown as representing the East and the past. The mechanic stands for the West and the modernity. So Aladdin here is essentially telling you, it symbolizes the world that has gone by, the magic, the world of magic carpets, the world of and jinn, the magic lamp and all of that. That is what it is about now. So it is telling you, the in the earlier times, they were the ones who were known as the magicians, the people who were into this kind of stuff. They were known as magicians. But now, in the new age, in the new era, they are now trying to tell you that magicians are the ones who work on machines, who invent machines, who make great discoveries, who make great inventions. So they are the modern magicians of the world, the people who work behind these things, and the people who work hard to make these things a reality. These images offer us a triumphant account of the modern world. Within this account, the modern world is associated with rapid technological change and innovations, machines and factories, railways and steamships. The history of industrialization thus becomes simply a story of development, and the modern age appears as a wonderful time of technological progress. These images and associations have now become part of modern imagination. Do you not see rapid industrialization as a time of progress in modernity? Do you not think that the spread of railways and factories and the construction of high rise buildings and bridges is a sign of society's development? It certainly is today, students. If you go to, for example, the villages, of Uttarakhand, or anywhere, your father's village or your mother's village, your ancestral property, that is. And if you find that the water is not coming out 24 hours a day, the taps run dry, probably some of them are still going to the hand pumps and wells, and probably, who knows, probably collecting water from the river flowing close by, or for that matter electricity only 5 or 6 hours in a day. You definitely think that कि यार ये क्या है ये? The roads are absolutely broken, no road to speak of. Then you definitely say कि यार ये कौन सी दुनिया में है? Right? Why? Because you do not associate that kind of life with modernity. You do not associate that kind of life with progress. And for progress to happen, you have to have clean roads, good roads, electricity, good houses, uh, basic infrastructure basically to be taken care of, right? And that involves a very substantial investment in modern technology. Okay, so this is now before now let's come to this again. Let's start here. Before the Industrial Revolution, all too often we associate industrialization with the growth of factory industry. When we talk of industrial production, we refer to factory production. When we talk of industrial workers, we mean factory workers. Histories of industrialization very often begin with the setting up of the first factories. So students, it's a common sense. I don't need to explain it. This is a problem with such ideas. Even before factories began to dot the landscape in England and Europe, there was a large-scale industrial production for an international market. This was not based in factories. Many historians now refer to this phase of industrialization as proto-industrialization? Students, this question is very important. Every time it comes in some examination or the other, what do you understand by proto-industrialization? Now, this is essentially trying to tell you that industrialization is about machines, as as it suggests. It's about machine. It is about producing materials in huge quantities, and that is what industrialization is about. The factories, everything like. Now, but this question which is being raised here is that, of course, industrialization happens to be a very recent phenomena, 16th century, 17th centuries. That is just about 300, 350-year old phenomena. But production of different materials and different goods have been going on for centuries, thousands of years for that matter. Egyptian civilization was even 4,000, 5,000 years ago was known for its great quality of cotton, right? Indian civilization, even 5, 6,000 years ago, was known for its own great stuff. Chinese civilization has always been known for its great quality of silk and so many other goods that it used to make. Of course, there were no factories, yeah, and 5,000 or 6,000 years ago in the manner which we know today. Okay, of course, you have to have tools to manufacture and produce things. So this is what this proto-industrialization is about. Basically, that you were of course producing those things, and of course those to produce those things you needed a great amount of manpower to produce. But what they are saying is the what it exists today in terms of industrialization, where everything is under one roof. 20 or 200 people work under one roof. There are machines, there's an assembly line production. So that is industrialization today. But this is not the industrialization. That means if the earlier methods you would not call industrialization, they are saying that was also industrialization, and that is because the same thing was being done here, though in a different fashion and of course in a different scale. So those days and that era would be known as the era of proto-industrialization. uh, Now, in the 17th and 18th centuries, merchants from towns in Europe began moving to the countryside, supplying money to peasants and artisans, persuading them to produce for an international market. With the expansion of world trade and the acquisition of colonies in different parts of the world, the demand for goods began growing. But merchants could not expand production within towns. This was because here the urban craft and trade guilds were powerful. Uh, these were associations of producers that trained craftspeople, maintained control over production, regulated competition and prices, and restricted the entry of new people into the trade. Essentially, students, what it means is that as the urbanization improved, right, now people started moving out from the villages. They started settling in towns, particularly the younger population. Now everyone was not working in the field of agriculture. Everyone was not producing what they were consuming. Now people had become more and more urban in their approach and in their life. So what they are saying here is, but as the trade expanded, it was not difficult to meet it was not easy to meet all that demand by whatever you could produce, just in the towns, in the areas around towns. So naturally now people started venturing into the villages, because the villagers were the ones who had the people living in the villages in the countryside. They were the ones who had the talent, the skill. Now what they did not have was the money, right? The people in town, they did not have the talent and skill, but what they had was money. So it was a very, very symbiotic kind of a thing. And that's the reason why the people from towns started going there. They started investing there, started giving them money. And so whatever they would produce, people from those areas, that would be sent for and used for trade in the bigger towns or in different countries for that matter. Thank you.